Hey guys, welcome to the lineup show. I am going to go over the Sunday Main Slate for you guys, and I'm going to try my best to determine the most likely high scores of the week for you guys. I can't guarantee anything, but it should be fun. It's NFL DFS, and let's go ahead and dive into it. So I'm going to start off with the quarterbacks. Of course, we got Josh Allen on top, sitting at 24.2 fantasy points a game, and he is playing the Dolphins, who are 24th against the quarterback, 10th against the pass. So they're not that bad against the pass, but they are not super great against the quarterback. And it's Josh Allen. So I expect him to do well. He's not my favorite quarterback here by any stretch. And then, of course, you got Lamar Jackson, who played fantastic last week against Miami. Let's see. The Vikings are the team he is playing, and they are 13th against the quarterback, 8th against the pass, 20th against the rush. I don't really like it here, guys. I'm not. I see what he did against Miami, but I just don't like him in this spot. I do really like Matthew Stafford here. And actually, I'll show you why in a second, but he's playing San Francisco, who's 21st against the quarterback and 21st against the pass. But what I really like is when they played San Francisco in week 5, he had 29.6 fantasy points. And I just want to make mention of that because that's who they're playing again. If he can replicate that or even do better, that would be great for anyone who plays him, of course. And then you have Drake May. I kind of like him, kind of don't. He's just played really good football this year, but he's playing Tampa Bay, who's 19th against the quarterback, 22nd against the pass. He's not going to be one that I recommend you play, but I like him. And then we'll look at Baker Mayfield. I don't want to look at every quarterback, but he's got a decent matchup. The New England's 15th against the quarterback, 20th against the pass, and Baker's playing really good football as well. He's not the guy for me this week. I really like Caleb Williams here, and I'm still baffled as to how cheap he is. Why they haven't upped his salary on Draftkings, I don't know, guys, but he got 38.7 fantasy points last week. He's playing New York, who's 26th against the quarterback and 24th against the pass this week, and 31st against the rush. I expect Caleb Williams to do very well this week. He averages 20.1 fantasy points a game. And, that's all I need to say. I expect him to be one of the top scorers this week. But you know what? I thought that about Danny Dimes last week. And that was a huge upset there. So with that said, I apologize if any of you picked Danny on my behalf. But, it didn't work out. So Jared Goff, I think, also has a great matchup against Washington. 27th against the quarterback and 29th against the pass is Washington. And I think he's going to do great. So just a recap of the ones we've gone through. My favorites are Stafford, Caleb Williams, and Jared Goff. And not going to look at Sam Darnold here because I don't love it, but I do really, really like Jackson Dart here, and he might be my favorite quarterback this week. Playing the Bears, who are 30th against the quarterback, 25th against the pass. And then last week he had a 27.2 fantasy point game against San Francisco. He's been playing well. He's only averaging 17.3. But for some reason, I just expect him to have a big game here. I guess I can't say looking at matchups that I like him any better than Stafford or Caleb Williams. I kind of do. It's like a gut call maybe. I don't know, guys. I just kind of I like him. Uh, I believe, yeah, Marcus Mariota has kind of a good matchup. The Lions are 12th against the pass, which really isn't that bad. So I don't love it, but they are 23rd against the quarterback. Um, I don't recommend playing him, but I guess I could see your argument if you wanted to. I do kind of like J.J. McCarthy here. Um, the, Baltimore's 25th against the quarterback, 28th against the pass. I expect him to have a good week. And besides that, you got to really start searching. I think Davis Mills, on paper, it's a great matchup. Jaguars are 28th against the quarterback, 27th against the pass. He's only 4,500 salary, so if you needed to save on salary, you're taking a huge risk by playing him because he averages 3.7 fantasy points a game. But I could see why you would do it. And I think if you're going to play him, please load up on some really good football players that are known to get fantasy points. But for all intents and purposes, I think I'm going to put Jackson Dart in here in that spot. I don't like Christian McCaffrey's matchup at all. But with that said, he averages 26.4 fantasy points a game. And when they played the Rams in week 5, he had 27.9 fantasy points. So throw that matchup that you see out the window. Rams are 11th against the rush, but it doesn't matter. I don't even care. Unless something has drastically changed since they played that week, I don't see why you shouldn't play him. There's tons of running backs I like this week, guys. I like Jahmyr Gibbs. Washington's 18th against the running back, 22nd against the rush. And he's just a good ball player, man. James Cook, I really like. He's probably one of my top 3 favorites this week. Miami's 28th against the running back, 30th against the rush. And if you just look at his game log, he's had some big games. 36.6 in week 8 being his best. With that said, I like Devon Achane on the opposing team that he's playing. So the Bills are 26th against the running back and 28th against the rush. He might be my favorite back this week, or one of them. Guys, I want to like Derrick Henry in this spot. The Vikings are 13th against the running back, 20th against the rush. He just hasn't averaged much this year. 14.6. He had one game that was really stellar. Maybe 2. I think it was just 1. But he's Derrick Henry. I expect him to pop off at any time. He could just explode for, 30, 40-point fantasy game. And, yeah. So do with that what you will, but I don't think I'm going to play him this week. Kyren Williams. Don't love his matchup. San Francisco's 17th against the running back, 16th against the rush. But let me say this. That week 5, that Christian McCaffrey had that stellar game of 27 point whatever points. Kyren Williams, on the other end, had 32.1 fantasy points in that game. So I think he could be a good one this week. Judkins, another one, guys, that I like here. Jets are 22nd against the running back, 26th against the rush. I like him. I think you could play him. I don't love him, I guess, but I like it quite a bit. Rico Dowdle, another 31.1 fantasy point game in week 9, and Chuba Hubbard, I believe, played in that game. He had 25 attempts. Did he have any passes? I backed out. I didn't mean to, guys. He had 3 targets and 2 receptions. I think he's at play. Saints are 23rd against the running back, 24th against the rush. I think he would be an excellent play here if he's getting the ball 25 times in a game. Mason, I think, could do well. Jordan Mason. However, Aaron Jones is expected to play in this game. I'll show you the matchup right here. I won't click on Aaron because of it, but Baltimore's 27th against the running back, 21st against the rush. I think that Aaron Jones will have a good game, or could have a good game, but Jordan Mason, they might split the load. I don't know what they're going to do. I think their coach was saying that he'll play nope, I'm telling you the wrong coach. I'm telling you for the next guy. Let me explain. DeAndre Swift is questionable to play this week, and it looks like he is expected to play, but their coach is saying that he's going to play the hot hand most likely between Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift. But with that said, I love the matchup there. New York is 31st against the running back, 31st against the rush. If it wasn't a toss-up between the two of them, I would really say they're probably my favorite running back on the slate. But I don't know which one's going to get the bulk of the carries, if either. But I think you could probably play either one, to be honest with you. But I would still expect Swift to be the number 1 back. But with that said, Jordan Mason, I don't know that I'd play him with Aaron Jones in the game. I don't know. I don't love it. I don't see why you would play either of them necessarily with the other options that you have. I mean, I kind of could see why you would, but I'm not going to. I don't believe. Travion Henderson, another good matchup. I didn't like this one. So the Buccaneers are 25th against the running back. They're 8th against the rush. So I didn't love that, but let's see what he does pass-wise. Maybe I missed out on that. Okay, he got 6 targets last week. 4 receptions on 6 targets. So that could be something. He could have a good game this week. For some reason, I don't expect him to, because he still only got 12.7 fantasy points last week. I want him to do well. I don't know that I think he's going to. Monangai, I think, is probably kind of a question as to whether Swift is going to play or not, if I were to play him. And just kind of scrolling down. Let's take a look at Kenneth Walker the third really quick. No, don't love it. Here's Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is 5,200. So if he plays, that could be a good one, guys, to pick. I mean, a 5,200 salary, that could be a good option. I think that's it for the running backs. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and just pick 2 that I like the best. And I think I'm going to pick HN. And I want to pick Kyron Williams again. I'm going to say it's a toss-up right now between McCaffrey, Kyron Williams, James Cook, and Rico Dowdle. He got 25 carries last week, 25 attempts. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and throw Cook in there. We'll have a running back from each team in that game. I have not gone over the wide receivers yet, so we're going to go over them, I guess, first take right now. But I'm going to tell you, I like Puka Nacua here. When do I not? So he's averaging 24.4 fantasy points a game. In week 5 against San Francisco, he got 24.5 fantasy points. They are 21st against the wide receiver and 21st against the pass. He is an excellent play here. As long as he is healthy and ready to go. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think is supposed to be chalky. But why not? The Cardinals are 19th against the wide receiver, 23rd against the pass. He's averaging 24.5 fantasy points a game. But with that said, in week 4 when they played Arizona, he only got 13 fantasy points. So I don't necessarily love that. But I don't know that matters a whole lot. That was one game. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Are you kidding me? This is a great matchup for him. Washington's 28th against the wide receiver, 29th against the pass, and he's averaging 21.4 fantasy points a game. All of those guys would be great picks. Justin Jefferson, he's not averaging as much, but Baltimore's 29th against the wide receiver and 28th against the pass. I think he or Jordan Addison would be good picks. Then you got Devontae Adams. When they played in week 5, when they played San Francisco, he only got 13.8 fantasy points. But it looks like, I was going to say he might have an uptick in targets here. I don't know that he has, but he's played pretty well the last 2 weeks. Now that I think about it, probably because Puka Nacua was out. But he'd still be a good option. San Francisco, like we said, is 21st against wide receiver and 21st against the pass. I think he would be a good option. Probably not my favorite pick, but Emeka Egbuka, I don't love this matchup here. New England's 14th against the wide receiver, 20th against the pass. I just don't know that I love it. I don't think that I do. I think I'm going to pass on him this week. You got Nico Collins, who was playing the Jaguars. They're 22nd against the wide receiver, 27th against the pass. But he's only averaging 13.6 fantasy points a game, and he's got Davis Mills right now, I believe. Double check maybe, but I believe that it's Davis Mills as his quarterback. If you're going to play somebody, or play that quarterback as the cheap option, I guess let's just double check right now. Make sure. Yeah, looks like it's going to be Davis Mills. But either way, I don't love it. Waddle. So we got Jalen Waddle. Buffalo's 11th against the wide receiver, 2nd against the pass. Don't like it. Already tell I don't like Olave's. Garrett Wilson, I don't think I would like. Yeah, I don't like it. Odunze. Odunze is coming back. I mean, he's had the ankle and the heel. Looks like he's playing in this game. He's dealt with the ankle and the heel injury, but looks like he's going to play. New York's 27th against the wide receiver, 24th against the pass. This would be the opposite team of the quarterback that I'm playing. So if it becomes a shootout, I think Odunze is going to do great. I think he's going to do great either way. I already told you I like Caleb Williams. I like Odunze. I wouldn't mind having 2 lineups, one going Odunze and Caleb Williams, and then the other one Jackson Dart and a receiver from the Giants. But we'll see. I like it. I like him a lot here in this spot, actually, and I'm not sure why he's so cheap. Don't think I like Zay Flowers here. I don't want to. I guess we'll look at Diggs. I'm not sure. Buccaneers are 16th against the wide receiver, 22nd against the pass. But I don't think I love it. Debo Samuel, I don't love it. Jordan Addison, I'll tell you right now, I like. We already looked at the matchup when we looked for Justin Jefferson. I like him. I kind of skipped over DJ Moore. I guess I should not have. He had a solid game last week, but I think Odunze was out. So, um, and then, yeah, so when I said I would pick a receiver from New York, it would most likely be Wan'Dale Robinson, um, who hasn't really had. He had that one game in week 2 for 31.2 fantasy points. Uh, I think this could be the week that he comes close to that again. But I'm not guaranteeing anything. I think he'll at least get, I want to say like 18 fantasy points, maybe 15 to 18 conservatively. And then I would hope 20 to 30, possibly. I guess if I end up playing him, that's what I have in mind. And I think I actually might end up playing him. You got Jameson Williams, I think could do good this week. Let's take a look as well at Jennings for San Francisco. So he actually didn't play in that week 5 game against the Rams this year. However, Kendrick Bourne did. And Kendrick Bourne had 27.2 fantasy points in that game. Now I don't like their matchup. The Rams are 20th against the wide receiver, so that's an okay matchup, but they're 13th against the pass. They're not like the worst against the pass. But it looks like if it goes like the last game they played together, it might be worth having Jennings or Bourne. And I don't know if Bourne just had that much more work because Jennings was out. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to make of it now that they're both in the game. Maybe it was because of Kendrick Bourne's position and the defense against him. I don't know, guys. It's tempting to play Kendrick Bourne now in that spot. Yeah. Moving on though, Darius Slayton. He's been a guy in the past that's really done well. In some games, he's not like, definitely not one that I consider like a top receiver in the league, but I think he's proved himself as a receiver. And the Bears are 30th against the wide receiver, 25th against the pass. This is a game that he could do good as well. Christian Kirk had 8 targets against Denver last week. 4 receptions. He only had 6.6 fantasy points, but Jaguars are 22nd against the wide receiver, 27th against the pass. That could be something for a cheap option. And then Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus is averaging 8 fantasy points a game. Last week he had 17.8, but that's when I'm pretty sure Odunze was out. Or got hurt or something. He might have been out that whole game. New York they're 27th against the wide receiver, 24th against the pass, as we said before. I like Zacchaeus, I think, here as a cheap option, guys, at 3,600. He might be the last cheap option I like without really digging in deep and thorough for a player. Maybe a Jalen Naylor this week, but I kind of doubt it. Yeah. So just going to scroll back up to the top, pick myself my favorite wide receivers here, and I think it's going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think it's going to be Puka Nacua. And just to throw in, nope, I like Odunze as well. So these are the three guys I think I like a lot. Um, and then tight ends I have not looked at either. Sam Laporta coming off of a 21.7 fantasy point game against Washington, who's 26th against the tight end. He could do very well in this game. Dalton Kincaid, 25.1 fantasy points last week. 6 targets, 1 touchdown, 6 receptions on 6 targets. Miami's 27th against the tight end. He had 17.6 in week 3 against Miami. That could be a good option this week. Harold Fannin Jr., if he plays, great matchup for him. The Jets are 25th against the tight end. Man, there's no shortage of tight ends, and I didn't even look at Trey McBride. Trey McBride is playing Seattle, who's 22nd against the tight end. Crazy. But when they played in week 4, he only got 12.2 fantasy points, so I don't love that. George Kittle, don't love his matchup here this week. I like Cade Otton's matchup, but I don't love the fact that he's only averaged 6.6 fantasy points in a game. Kind of looking over these guys. Loveland had a huge game last week. 32.8 fantasy points, and I'm pretty sure I played him in week 8. That was a huge letdown. And you're telling me that he got 32.8 fantasy points the very next week? That just seems wrong. New York's 15th against the tight end. But I could definitely see playing him after that huge performance last week. Good matchup, it looks like, for Theo Johnson. He only averages 8.9 fantasy points a game. Bears are 20th against the tight end, but I don't hate that play. Jawan Johnson, it's got a good matchup, kind of. It's an okay one. Panthers are 19th against the tight end, 15th against the pass. Dalton Schultz has a really good matchup here. Jaguars 31st against the tight end, 27th against the pass, although they have Nico Collins back and Christian Kirk. Not sure if that would hurt their play at all. I don't know that I love that. I guess the ones I really like right now are Kincaid, Laporta, Fannin Jr. if he plays, and then Dalton Schultz would be a good cheaper option. I don't know that I like Hawkinson here. Not a whole lot, to be honest with you. I think I like Fannin Jr. still better than Njoku. My goodness, guys, there's a lot of good matchups. Cardinals are 23rd against the tight end, and A.J. Barner averages 9.4 a game. But when they played before, he got 12.2 fantasy points earlier in the year. Did Komet play last week when Loveland had that huge game? He did, but he only got 2 fantasy points. So, with that said, I'm going to throw in I think Dalton Schultz, just for fun. But that's not going to leave us with enough salary cap because of the the studs that we're playing. Um, so maybe we do away with Cook, which could be the wrong decision. What did Cook get? 23.8 fantasy points against Miami before. That was good, but I don't know that I consider it great. So I'm going to take him out and maybe play like a DeAndre Swift or Rico Dowdle. Let's just throw Dowdle in there for fun right now. That still does not leave a whole lot. That doesn't actually leave enough. We're going to have to really go cheap on somebody here. I don't want to go cheaper than Dowdle, really, as far as running back goes. So we're going to have to go really cheap. I don't know if I want to go cheap on the running back or the wide receiver. I think I'd rather go cheap on the wide receiver. Let's put Dowdle in there for now. And then I'm going to have to think about this, guys. Because we do not have a whole lot of salary cap left at all. Who can we put in? We're still going to have to take somebody out and go cheaper somewhere. Let's go. Man, guys, I don't know who I want to go lower on here, but for the sake of time, let's just take Odunze out and let's put Zacchaeus in. And that will really open up some salary cap for us. And allow us to pick a defense and everything. Let's go ahead and take a gander at the defenses real quick. So the Bills look great here. They don't average much though. 6.3. That's not bad. That's not a bad average. It's not great. The Seahawks look really good here, averaging 9.4 fantasy points a game. Arizona's 23rd against the defense. By the way, Miami's 27th against the defense in that Buffalo game. The Panthers have a great matchup on paper, but they don't average much either. The Ravens is the same thing. The Lions average 8.3 against Washington, who's got a hurt quarterback. I might really like the Lions here. I think I kind of like Texas in this game. Assuming they can get some interception or two and some sacks on Trevor Lawrence, they could be a good play. Don't think I like the Rams in this one. Let's just, out of curiosity, see. Yeah, they got 1 point against San Francisco the last time they played. Don't think I like the Bears here. The Browns against the Jets could be an interesting pick. They average 7.3 fantasy points a game. The Jets are 26th against the defense, so that one kind of intrigues me. Tampa Bay against New England also kind of intrigues me. They're they average 8.5 fantasy points a game. Tampa Bay and New England is 21st against the defense, so I find that one kind of intriguing. Don't think I like New England against Tampa Bay. Yeah, so let's go ahead and throw Seattle in there for now. I think I like them well. Let's go ahead. Let's put the Lions there. See what that leaves us. That only leaves us with 2,900 for the flex spot, which means you're gonna have to do a tight end, like a backup tight end or something. Isaiah Likely had 9 fantasy points last week, so that would be a good one to play. But for the sake of time, guys, I'm not. I'm not gonna fill this spot in because I'm gonna change this lineup anyways. Uh, but besides Zacchaeus, I like Odunze better. These are the players I probably like the most. Except I really did like James Cook, Kyron Williams, uh, a lot. Enrico Dowdle. Um, and by the way, earlier, um, when I had mentioned the receivers for the or the positions for the oh my goodness, for San Francisco, I was talking about, whether one guy plays out of the slot more, one guy lines up out wide. I realized they were both wide receivers when I had said that, but yeah. So anyways, I wish you guys the best on your lineups. Hopefully this helps with these, showing you these guys and the breakdowns. I really do like Jackson Dart this week. And I appreciate you guys watching. This one's getting long, so I'm going to end it. But thank you so much. And I do wish you the best again with your lineup. If you care to comment, let me know how you do. If anyone does really well and wants to put it in there, go ahead. If anyone does really bad, you can put it in. But I'd like to hear about some of you winning. So that'd be awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.